I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite superhero of all time. I grew up watching his movies and TV shows, and I have a shrine dedicated to him in my room. I personally really liked Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man. He definitely had his flaws, but there were definitely aspects about him that set him apart from the other live-action iterations of Spider-Man. And I feel like No Way Home's ending was a really good way to reset the character and really start off from scratch. But Tom's Spider-Man had one thing a lot of people didn't really like. More so what he didn't have. He didn't have an origin story, more so an origin movie. We don't know how Tom Holland's Spider-Man came to be, and that was why people didn't like him. Spider-Man's origin is his entire character. What happens in his origin story makes him who he is. So for Tom Holland's Spider-Man to not have that really didn't sit right with a lot of viewers. So when they announced the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show, it felt like a breath of fresh air. We would finally be getting the origin story that Tom Holland's Spider-Man desperately needed, and we would finally get to know how he came to be. Fans were hyped. They released concept art of what the show would look like and how it would be animated and directly inspired by the original comic book look. And the people rejoiced. Until they switched it up midway through and made it an alternate universe where he met Norman Osborn instead of Tony Stark, which makes it have nothing to do with Tom's Spider-Man to begin with, and it's just another Spider-Man animated show. Which, don't get me wrong, I love me a good Spider-Man show, but for them to advertise it as an MCU Spider-Man origin story, but then to just backtrack, really ticked me the wrong way. But I tried to give the show the benefit of the doubt. I waited until they finally released to give my full-fledged thoughts on it. I watched both the episodes, and here are my opinions. I actually think it's pretty good. Was it what I wanted? No, but I am excited for what we did receive. I like how they really explored the characters outside of Peter's perspective, like when we got to see Lonnie and his family, breaking the high school jock stereotype and making him a really likable character. And I will say, I was not expecting the subtle showcases of racism in the show. Social issues have not been put on full display in Spider-Man media lately, specifically for a Peter Parker run. So for them to show this and show this side of the character is something we really hadn't seen before. Definitely being a welcome surprise that I hope the show goes more into depth with in later episodes. Something we didn't get to see in Tom's trilogy until the last movie was having consequences for him being Spider-Man. The way the show incorporates consequences through Peter's relationship with Nico. The two get invited to a party, but Peter's busy fighting crime, unable to show up, leaving Nico disappointed and exiting the party. I think that was a really good way to showcase how Spider-Man affects Peter Parker's life, and I hope that the show expands on this more in later episodes. Now I will get into my personal dislikes of the show. The exclusion of Uncle Ben didn't make sense to me. They talk about his recent passing, but they don't outright have him in the show. Why is that? This isn't supposed to be a Tom Holland origin story, so why not have Uncle Ben be a character in the show? But I don't consider that a big deal. We're only 2 episodes into the series, so we have yet to see what is to come. This might be a nitpick, but for some scenes of Spider-Man swinging around the city of New York, a population of 8 million people, these streets are pretty clear. This isn't throughout all the episodes we see, only a few short scenes, but this is just something I noticed. But in terms of the first 2 episodes, they aren't bad at all in my opinion. I enjoyed them, and I will be tuning in for the rest of the season if they keep it up. I will now address some of the discourse over the show that has been happening since the show released. I could care less about Norman and Harry Osborn being black. It was never important to their character, so it shouldn't matter to people if their races were switched. The show isn't woke because it includes people of color as the main cast, and if you think it is, you're a weirdo. If you're calling the show outright bad and not washing it over the diverse cast, then you are a weirdo. And if you're taking what people say online about the show being woke and DEI and hating on it online, you are a weirdo. Watch the show, give it a chance, and form your own opinion.